Hi guys. So today I want to do a review on Bookbeam, the Bookbeam extension, because I found out that they added some new features to it. And I've always used the free Bookbeam extension on Amazon, to find the BSR ranking and all that kind of stuff, which I'll go over in case you don't do that or you don't have that. But I wanted to go over it because I decided to join, and I don't remember if I paid like an annual subscription, but anyways, I went ahead and joined a paid subscription. And you don't have to join, but I think it's a really, really great tool. I think they are really trying to be competitive with a really good price and try to put so many benefits to help authors and self-publishers. So first I want to show you what I used to normally use it for, and let's see, let's just put a very random search here. Let's say anxiety. Now I'm typing in the word anxiety, and this is Bookbeam, obviously. And the nice thing about it is it will show you keyword suggestions. So let's type this. This is somewhat niche down, anxiety workbook for adults, and see what shows up with that. It's still a very broad keyword. But this is what you're going to get with Bookbeam as it starts loading, is that shows you the ranking of the book, the number of sales per day, and estimated royalties per day, which it shows even in the free version, but it will show you like the first three or four. And then after that, it'll only show you just the BSR ranking. But of course, if you decide to subscribe, then you'll get to see it for every single book. Even though if you're only going to use it for checking BSRs, you wouldn't have to pay for it because it doesn't really matter. The rest of the information is not that important for you, but it's nice to have if you're going to use it. Now, when you go into the back end of Bookbeam, this is what is really good. So, of course, this is a Chrome extension that we just looked at that will give you all the BSR information and sales per day. The niche finder is one of my favorites. Actually, there's a whole bunch of favorites here. The keyword research tool, category explorer, book tracker, listing optimizer, opt-in page builder. I didn't use this and I don't use this, but I think it's really cool. The description formatter I think is really cool. Trademark checker is a good thing to have. I haven't really used it yet, but if I ever need to, I will definitely use that. So if we go back here, let's start at the first one, tracking. So the nice thing about the book tracker is that you can just keep tracking. You can either track your books and or other people's books, which I think is great. And it gives you a lot of information. So if say you're tracking this book, you just click on the estimated royalties. It'll show you the ranking and the royalties per day, which is kind of nice. And you can actually zoom out by time, date, and see what's going on here. The green is the bestseller ranking. The blue is how much it's making. You can look at well, you have to add a keyword to track it, but this is really cool. You can look at the stats, all these different things. You can look at the review history. I don't really look at this because it just shows up when somebody leaves a review. But if you want to look at that, and you can look at the latest reviews, which is kind of nice. It might be a little too much information that you won't use, but it's still nice to be able to track these books. I like to track books, especially my own books, to see the ranking. The bestseller ranking is just so much easier to look at it from here. So what you do is you just track new, put in the ASIN number of your book or the book that you want to track. If it's someone else's book, you're going to put the marketplace, and then it will just start tracking it. So this is a really cool tool. Now, when you go under research, you have several things here, which the first one is the niche finder, which is also really cool, especially the presets. So the presets, they already have top selling self-published books, new high selling self-published books, the ones that just recently got released, top self-published books with low star rating or with low rating count, or self-published journals or notebooks and planners and word search books, oh, and coloring books. So they already have these presets, which are really cool. Now, it's really nice to have top self-published books with low rating count. That means they don't have a lot of reviews, which, could give you an opportunity to possibly get into the game in that particular niche. Or if books with low star ratings, I mean, they are ranking well, but their ratings are low. So let's click on that one to see an example. So we clicked on that and it'll just set this up as a preset. You can still readjust this if you want. You want to change maybe the months so it's not 60 months old, make it say 11 months. That'll probably lessen the amount of books that will show up. Number of ratings, let's say the number of ratings, let's say 26, and then find books. So these books will show up. It'll show you obviously how many pages are in the book, how long ago it was published, 15 days ago, and the ranking. So none of these are going to be 5-star ranking, but you'll see, I guess, 4 stars and below. I mean, we can actually rating, we could change this to, let's say, 3.3. Let's see if I think it will show up here. And keep in mind, these are the top self-published books. So let's see. This one was published 17 days ago. It's got a 3-star rating from 16 reviews. It shows how many sales per month, royalties per month, the price, and the ranking. This is a coloring book that came out 2 months ago. It's ranking really well. Its star rating is really bad, but it's still ranking well. Now, if you want to click on it to check its BSR, you can see how it's been moving. It's still been kind of gradually going up. It started July 14th at 10,000. It went down to 32,000. Still a very, very good, and it's still moving up even with this horrible review rating. You go to the next page. Wow. This one is ranking 24,000 with a 1-star, 1 review, and it's for $17. I mean, this just piques my curiosity. Like, I would just want to check on it and see, what kind of book this is. But this really helps give you an idea if you're really stuck with a niche or topic that you want to get into and you don't know. So this will just show you the latest books that were published and how they're doing pretty well, even with a very low rating. So, I mean, if I did a review of this book, definitely I would say the cover is done very poorly. I would want to see, well, definitely want to see what the reviews. They don't have A+ content, and the review is basically because the book arrived probably damaged. So that's not their fault. So that really is very unfortunate. They could have done a better job with the description because nobody's going to read this block and the cover needs to be redone. I would want to see who is this author that they would get a book ranking so quickly. So if you're curious, then you can go deeper dive into this and study what is making this book rank well. So this is just a really good tool, the niche finder. I think it's really helpful in doing your research. Then we can go to the Chrome extension. This is what we just saw. You install that. Category history. This is great. You could change the date range here. Let's say we want to go to like now. This will show obviously the #1 book ranking on Amazon. This is for all books. So if you want to go into a certain category, say cookbooks and say cooking education history. This is a very random category, but you can see what's ranking #1 in that subcategory. And this will help you also to decide if you want to choose that category when you're selecting the categories for your book, which categories you can possibly rank high in but are also relevant to your book. That's a great tool. Now, trademark checker, I haven't used it. When I do, I could, talk about that later, but I think it would be very helpful if you're dealing with something and you're not sure if the word is a trademark. Now, the keyword research tool, this I have been using a lot too, alongside Publisher Rocket, because I still like Publisher Rocket and I use both to compare the results because really the results are not the same. Sometimes they're similar and sometimes they are really completely way off. So I actually would consider using both if I want to be more accurate about the keywords that I choose for my title, for my back end, for my description. I do use both. So let's go back to that word that we looked at, anxiety. So, of course, it gives you suggestions. Let's say anxiety workbook for adults, and do find keywords. And so now we get all of these words showing up. So now we see anxiety workbook for adults. That's the main word that we typed in. And it will show you the search volume, the number of competitors. This will the average number of reviews on the first search results page, the average price on the first page, title density. And this is really cool. The split between different formats of books. It just shows you the different formats and the average age of the books. I don't really look at that. I do look at these the most: opportunity score and demand score. So this is really cool. I'm going to click right here. And this is what I really like about going deeper into the keywords. So it'll tell you that this particular keyword, anxiety workbook for adults, the overall opportunity, it'll tell you it's moderate demand and high competition. So that might not look very good. It says that it is searched an estimated 2.5 thousand times a month, which means it is moderately popular, but it also has high competition. As for the popularity, it is highly searched, so that's good. And the keyword is high in competition. So it just gives you the summary to give you an idea if it's a good keyword or not. So what you could do is also sort it out by opportunity score. Well, here, if you look at this one, the thriving with anxiety, that's the keyword. It has a very high search volume. That's great. The competitors are very low, which is probably why this is a 7.1. High demand and 6.3, which is not bad. High demand and moderate competition. This is great. If you are running ads and you already have a book that's about anxiety for adults or anxiety workbook for adults, for example, and you put this in your advertising campaign, then you might be able to get clicks that are not too expensive. So this really helps you dissect your keywords. Depending on what you want to search based on, CBT workbook for adults, very high search and a lot less competition. So that would and be something also to look at. Oh, and now you look here, it's got a 8.0 high demand. This is a very high demand, and this one's also high demand. Managing anxiety. The competition is high, but the demand is also very high. So this kind of helps you to gauge, which keywords are good to use, which are not used enough, and so gives you an opportunity to use them. So this is definitely something to use for your keyword research.